Hello, ladies. I was doing some gluing, and nothing more boring than just gluing, right? What I wanted to do was come on to remind everybody that we're having a fundraiser tomorrow. We're going to do a fundraiser for Scotty. Those of you that are familiar with Jessica's channel or her Facebook group, you already know Scotty. But Scotty is a very, very nice lady, and she's having some difficulties with some medical bills. And so the community, the art community, wanted to reach out to her, and Jessica Rapp, along with Darla, have been organizing behind the scenes, getting this auction together. It's going to be online tomorrow, and that will be on Jessica's channel, and that will be at 1 o'clock Pacific time. And it'll be going on for quite a while. We've got people that have donated different pieces of art. They've donated things they've made. They've donated supplies. It's going to be fun. So I'm just encouraging anyone who can. I mean, if you were going to buy something anyway, you might as well come over and buy something over the auction. And if you've never participated in an online auction, we always have fun. So this will be a good opportunity for you to get your feet wet. And if you can't make it at that time, we're going to be around for a long time. They always last a long time, especially with the donations that they've received. We'll be around. So if you don't, can't come on until after work or something, we'll be there. Not to worry. Anyway, what I am gluing. Okay, let me backtrack. There's a lot of individuals who are just now, learning about the kind of stuff that we do with our journals, whether it's, art journals or junk journals or whatever kind of journals. There's new people every day coming in and discovering, how fun this all is, whether you make them, whether you buy them and work in them, whatever it is that you particularly like to do, there's new people finding out about it. So one thing that gets real confusing for a lot of people that I've noticed is when it comes to glue books. And for me, just me, to me, the glue book is the easiest thing. You glue. It isn't like, well, what am I supposed to do with it? You glue. You find things and you glue. So anyway, there was a couple of people that said, yeah, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to put it together. So they said, could you make just a basic glue book? And I said, sure. So that's what I'm doing. And I thought, well, if I'm doing it and people still don't know how, or, how to have inspiration to make their own glue book, I figured, well, now's the time to share. And if you've never done it and you want to make one, here you go. This is what we're going to do. Hey, Miss Scotty. I was just talking about you. I was reminding everybody about the auction tomorrow. It's going to be exciting. Okay. what I did, okay, my husband, he went to the library one day, and the ladies at the library already know that he's a book person. He's more of a book person than I am, if you can imagine that. And he was a book person before I was a book person. So he has first dibs on it. But anyway, he goes to the library, and the ladies know what he's looking for, you know. Then I went one day with him, and I got to meet one of the ladies, and I explained to her what I did. And so she goes, "Oh, well, you know, you don't really care that much what's inside. You're concerned about making use of the exterior." And I go, "Yeah, exactly." So he went there one day, and she had about, I guess it was about, there was 20, 26, 27 of these. This was encyclopedia. And she just said, "Here, you can have them." And so my husband brought them home, and the other day I gutted most of them. And so this is what I'm using as the basis for this glue book that I'm making. And all I'm doing for this particular book, to make it very simple, because that's what it's supposed to be, simple, so that somebody else can come in and glue stuff to it. So to cover it up, I'm just putting pages, I'm gluing pages to the interior and the exterior. I've got one here that's almost dry. Yeah, it's probably dry. And I just glued, and glued, and glued. And now it's ready for me to get the signatures in there. So that's something that you guys, can do if you've never made one before. Find yourself the ugliest book in town and just start tearing book pages. I love this book pages because it's already, I don't know if it shows up, but they're already creamy, they have a really pretty color to them. So that's what I'm doing with these. Now, when you're putting the paper in on the front, I would suggest you have it hang over at least an inch. And then when you're all done and you go to do the inside, then you can have something to flap over so that you don't have a raw edge all around. So when you glue, just make sure that it's hanging out somewhere, at least an inch. It just, I just think it gives it a nicer finish. And then you just start gluing wherever you want to glue. Uh-oh, where'd my glue go? Oh, here it is. I lost it. I lost my glue. Well, anyway, those of you that haven't gone over to the fundraiser website, oh my goodness, I was looking at some of the stuff that has been donated. Oh, drool time. Lots of goodies. Somebody posted on my group, I guess there's a challenge out there to not buy anything for 3 days or something, starting either today or tomorrow. And I said, no, get that off our page. We've got to sell things tomorrow. People have to buy tomorrow. Get that out of here. Oh, yeah, I don't usually encourage people to buy stuff, but today I am. Get your little grubby fingers ready. Now, these glue books, even though whoever receives these books obviously can do whatever they want with them, but I'm using a book that has to do with plants and animals and bugs and, all that stuff. So that's what I'm doing with the front. And then the pages I put in there, I think, will lend itself, toward the garden or, spring or something like that, because, it's right around the corner. All right. So I got to put this over here. I keep forgetting. Yeah, Aaron, I'm going to tell him, boy. Get those pocketbooks ready. We got some spending to do. Now, for those of you that have never done this before, you can use, I mean, I would say, and of course, I'm the one talking, so I can say what I want. I would use any kind of glue, anything I had. I don't care. I don't care if it's cheap. I don't care if it's watery. I don't care if it's cakey. I don't care. Because you're just gluing stuff down. With this particular kind of book, looks do not matter. Because probably you're going to glue something over it again anyway. Kind of look at this as just being the backdrop to whatever you end up doing. Even though sometimes I end up liking how they look on the outside and pretty much leave them, but hey, that's just me. Yes, Scotty, I saw the same thing. I mean, today, oh no, I cut my bugs up. Oh my goodness. Yeah, today up here where I am, it was about 68 today, which was obviously very, very beautiful. But they're saying that this weekend we might get ice and snow. It's like, oh my gosh, what is going on? So yeah, it may not be too pleasant this weekend. But hey, as long as you have hot chocolate, who cares? Bring out the hot chocolate or coffee or chai or whatever it is you like. And I say, we're okay. Okay, so how many of you guys, how many are we here? How many of you guys have done a glue book or want to do a glue book? Is this something you guys are into? Because, not everybody is. Even though, you might enjoy certain types of journals, a glue book just may not be your thing. And then I have to say, why not? Why not? Okay. I like the hairs of bees, flies, and caterpillars. Ooh, see, they have hair problems. They've got fuzzy hair, right? I don't know. Erin probably knows the name of the hair that bees have. I'm sure it's a different name. And Erin knows. She's going to type it in a second. Right, Erin? It just can't be hair. Hi, Melody. Let's see if somebody else can type it in before Erin. Oh, see, she missed. See, that's what happens when you don't pay attention. Right here, it says the hairs of bees, flies, and caterpillars. I know there's a different name for the hair. It's not just called hairs, right? It's got a, a more hoity-toity name, right? It's got to. Oh, I made that too small. It's got to have a different name besides just that. Okay, so just for that, I'm going to put some of the little hairs. Here's some of the hairs of the caterpillar. There. Where do I live, Beth? I live in Arkansas, right smack in the middle of the United States. I call it the armpit of America. Yay! See how cool that's going to look? Because it'll be right there on the back. Yay! Oh, thanks, Scotty. I thought that was rather cute myself. It's not always, I'm sure it's the same with all of you. We're our worst critics, but every once in a while we'll make something and we'll look at it and we go, you know what, that looks pretty cute. And that little journal I'm going to be auctioning off tomorrow. I think it's so cute. There we go. I know one week, it was about maybe 2 weeks ago, I guess, we had a fluctuation in temperature. It was ridiculous. One day it was like in the 20s, and within a couple of days it was in the 70s. I mean, it had jumped like 50 degrees. It was insane. I'm surprised more people aren't sick, with all the fluctuation of the weather and everything. I know in our area, a lot of people have been complaining more like sinus problems. I think because, like, for instance, I have these trees in my yard and they're all full of buds. And, we're going to still get a freeze, like maybe this weekend, right? And there goes all the buds. But, when they start producing all those buds, and we've got all the buds to the leaves and flowers, all kinds of stuff, I'm sure it lets out certain kinds of pollen that we can't see yet. And it makes all of us with allergies gonna, get kind of goofy. I know I've been having sinus headache off and on for about a week. I blame the weather and all my crazy trees in my yard. I can't wait though. I get to do some more of my eco dyeing. I'm running really low. What I did, I should say, this past fall, I got a whole bunch of leaves and I threw them in the freezer. And, I've been doing my my dyeing from that. But fortunately, whoops, I gotta have that go over. I gotta get a different one. Fortunately, a lot of people have been dying, have been buying my papers. And so, I've had to replenish them. And so this year I ran out of leaves. I mean, I still have some, but in about, I would say, if the sales keep going the same, I might be out in about a month. So I really need the new leaves to come out so that I have some product to work with. But I did a batch today. Oh, they came out so cool. I just remembered they're outside. I got to bring them in. Let's see. I need somebody here reading to me while I'm doing it. Ooh. And they're all sick. Oh my goodness. What's in the air? Who knows, right? Well, I hope they get, better real soon, Ellie. That's not good when everybody's catching the same thing. Now, this front one, I'm hardly putting anything because I'm going to put, some kind of a focal point. But in the back, I'm just putting little pictures here and there. I have a, let's see, what do they call it here? It's funny, everywhere you move, especially if it's in, a different region of the United States, they call the plants different names. So I know like 3 different names for the same plant. And if I use the wrong one around here, people look at me like, what are you talking about? But anyway, I have, and now I forget what they call them here. I think they call it a magnolia tree. Other people call it a tulip tree. All I know is it blooms in the spring with these big, gigantic flowers that are a lavender, purplish color. And when they're the average size, I guess they do look like a tulip the way it opens. But mine go whoop and they get kind of big, flop over and don't look like tulips anymore. But anyway, it's full of buds. I mean, full. And it always, has the flowers, that particular tree, before the leaves come. So it's like, oh no, don't let anything happen to the flowers. Well, I've got across the street, there are all the daffodils. They've been blooming for like 2 weeks. I've got some stuff in my yard. To tell you the truth, I forget what it is. I think there's something in the daffodil family. I haven't seen the flowers come up yet, but the plants, they're nice and healthy, ready to go. I've been wanting the daffodils across the street, and they're in an empty lot. And I've been, exercising self-control. I wanted to so badly go over there and just pluck them out and put them in my last spoil. But, I'm sure other people are enjoying looking at them. And I felt kind of bad just kind of stealing them out of the field. Maybe I should do it right now while it's dark. I won't feel so bad if no one sees me do it. I mean, it's an empty field. I'd actually be helping them, right? Clearing out. I don't plant any bulbs anymore here because we have lots of squirrels, and one year I just sat there and watched the squirrels steal all of my tulips. I mean, I just sat there and watched him because if I shoot him away, he was just going to come back as soon as I left. So I said, okay, this is a lost cause. And he was a pig. He took them all. He just kept coming back. And then we have what do you call those underground rodents? We got them too. Not the gophers, the other ones. What are those called? I forget what they're called right now. Anyway, we have them. And so what the squirrels don't get, they get. So I gave up. I forget how much money I've spent on bulbs, and I said no more. And then I read these clever ways of, put it in wire and do this and do that so that they can't steal the bulbs. And I said, you know what? I don't need bulbs that bad. That I have to devise some kind of a contraption. That's okay. I'll plant something else. Yes, moles. There you go. Creepy little moles. Now, I don't want to cover up my millipede, so we'll put that right there. For you just joining us, I'm just gluing. You wouldn't believe how many questions I get about gluing. And I have no rhyme or reason how I glue. I use whatever I have. Doesn't matter what kind of glue. The cheaper, the better. And that's my philosophy. Let's take March out of there and save that for later. I think my dog scared my last bunny that was living underneath my studio. And that particular dog that kind of chased him, he's not, he's not the hunter in the family. I think he just chased him like to play with him, but I think he got scared. Because I usually keep my dogs out of the yard that's adjacent here to where I am for that very reason, so they can't, chase the little rabbits. But he got in somehow. I must have left it open when I was carrying something over. Had too many things in my hand or something. The next thing I know, I hear bang, bang. Poor dog ran into the house or something. I think chasing the rabbit. But I didn't see no fur nowhere, so he got away. All right. So the front is all done. As I mentioned, you want to make sure that you allow the paper to hang over so that you have a clean edge. Hold on. So that you have a clean edge when you fold over the paper. Whoop, that needs to be glued down big time. Hold on. Yeah, make sure it's kind of glued down. And if you prefer glue sticks, more power to you. As long as it keeps things down, it doesn't matter what you use. Okay, let me see what I'm missing out on the chat. Oh, you saw a caterpillar. Oh, how cute. Hi, Louise. Hello, everybody. I've missed everybody. I've been concentrating too much. It takes a lot of concentration to glue, You do have to have eye contact. I mean, you got to put the glue where everything's going to stick, right? It may be easy, but it takes your attention. All right. So then what I do, I don't get all fancy because it's just going to be a glue book. So I just fold in the corner and fold it up that way and that way. And then later on, I'm going to put something up on top anyway. I don't care really how it looks, but you do need the glue. These are fun to make because you don't, at least I don't feel like I have to be fussy. I know some people, are fussy about everything they make, and that's fine, but that's not me. I just throw things together because it makes me happy to do that. If it doesn't make you happy, don't do it. Especially when it comes to your art. What's the point? I think that's a general rule in life, but especially in your art. I mean, there's no consequence. You don't have to do it. It isn't like someone's depending on you to do it. You're not being selfish if you want to do it your way. And if I was smart, but I'm not, I'd have a little bone folder or something to make a nice edge here. But I don't have one around here right now. And I'm too lazy to go hunt it down. Now, see, I should have left a little bit more to make it a little easier to make this corner, but of course, I was probably yakking and not paying attention. But it'll work. It's all going to get covered up. See, it's cutting it kind of close, but we're going to cover it. We're going to put other paper inside, so no problem. Might need a little extra glue, though, to keep that little puppy down. Yesterday, no, not yesterday, day before, it was very windy here. And I've heard from a lot of you ladies, it was windy everywhere. It was crazy. I'll tell you how windy it was here. I had to bring in my wind chime. You know, I have my indoor wind chime, but I also have my outdoor one. And I thought, uh-oh, it's pretty bad when I can hear it inside with the window shut, the door shut. I thought, uh-oh, maybe I should take that down before it ends up in the yard, all broken up. And I live close to a river. The river, well, just so you know, the river, let's say the river is number 1 street. Let's say number 1, because I live on 6th Street. So I'm basically 6 blocks away from the river. But I live right when you get off of the banks of the river, the terrain starts going up a little bit. So I live, you know, high away from, how can I explain? What am I trying to say? I'm not at the level of the river. I'm up above the river, even though I'm close to it. Okay, if you can visualize that. So that night when the wind came, I heard the chimes, right? So that's when I went outside. And when I went outside, and it wasn't like real hard, but it was unusual for me to hear them. So I go out there, and that's when I realized it was windy. Well, it was so weird. It wasn't so windy where I was, but off in the distance, which would have been like going down the valley where the actual river is. I already made a mistake here because I'm yakking. Hold on. Let me fix this up. It sounded like a train because of the wind was just, you know, going down the river. And it was cool. It sounded really neat, but it was kind of spooky at the same time. Like, oh my goodness, is that wind going to get that hard up here? So that's when I took my chimes down and everything. And I have this one little dog. He's very sensitive. So whenever weather is changing, you know, he gets all lovey-dovey. And I looked at him, and he had that look on his face like, gulp, something's going on here. So I said, okay, you can go inside. I don't want you to get all stressed. So I took the dog inside, brought the chimes inside. And just when I did that, all that sound, all that wind that was causing all that sound came all the way up to where we were. And oh dear. I mean, just dumb things that we had sticking up, you know, like a shovel or something. All the things came falling down. And good thing, though, I did rescue my chimes. That was the only important thing. All was good. And it only blew for maybe a half hour or so. But still, it was enough to knock everything over. Okay, so that's all you do to finish off the sides. Super, super easy. And that's why I like to, have the paper go over the edge, because I like the clean look of it folded over. Where's the one I did? This one here. Like right there. I like how that finished look looks. So, even though you're just making a glue book, it doesn't mean that, you don't want it to look nice. All right, so, oh, it must be getting cool outside. My heater just went on. That's weird. It may be. Okay. Now for tomorrow, for the fundraiser, make sure you have snacks. Make sure you have caffeine. Make sure you have your credit cards. So you don't have to leave. But for those of you that have to work, we'll be there late, so never fear. And Jessica's really good, about, timing things out and, not having all the same kind of stuff at the same time. She'll spread it all out. You won't miss nothing. Alrighty, so ta-da! So that is the outside. It's upside down. So the back, it has some of the little information of insects and bugs and stuff. Like I said, I'm going to kind of have this of a theme of like garden. But because it's just, stuff like this, anyone who gets it can, paint over it, glue something over it. It's no big deal. All right, so let me see what I'm going to put inside. Keeping with the same theme. Let's see if I have something with some bugs or something. What's that? Fish scales. It can't be real fish. It must be those silver fish things or something, because this is all about the garden. Right, Erin? Oh, Erin's over there yakety yak. She didn't pay attention to my question again. What good is it having a smart person in the chat when you're not paying attention? Okay, let's put this. Isn't that kind of cool with all the bugs? Let's see. It's a little bit over. Let me cut that. Let me trim it a tiny bit. Just a itty bitty bit. Of course, it won't be straight, but it's a glue book. Who cares? Okay. So, yay. That'll be good. And then I can do something over there. Okay, what am I missing on? Erin, you missed the moment. I don't even know anymore. Something about fish. There's no fish in the garden, so they must be talking. When they talk about fish scales, it must be like those silverfish, maybe? Bug, insect things? I don't know. I can't read it now because it's glued down somewhere, but I'm thinking. That's the only fish I can think of associated with the garden. Let's see. All right, now the advantage, because we turned over that paper on the edges, is that you don't have to be perfect, and it still looks very clean. Yay, I like that. Let's put a little bit more here. It kind of soaked it up. It's kind of dry. And I am so tired of ruining my brushes on glue. I have one brush designated for my glue. And when that, is over, it's over. Then I move on to the next one. Because I'm tired of ruining multiple brushes. Because even if I clean them, they just kind of still stay a little stiff, So, oops, I should have cut that away. Don't do this, boys and girls. I don't want to ruin my scissors now, but I should have cut that away. That's what happens when I chit-chat. That's okay. You have to see the mistakes, too, so you don't make mistakes. All right, let me put some more glue down here. Hey, Betty. I got your message. Yay! Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but why would they be talking about fish in this book? This is all has to do with the garden. That's what I was wondering. More glue. Well, was it last week? I'm forgetting when things happen. But I had a workshop here at the house, which was a lot of fun here at the studio. And we made journals out of purses. And they came out pretty cool. Those sparkly, like clutch purses from who knows when. I think you only wear them to like, graduations and weddings. The sparkly ones. They're really cool looking, but not very practical. But they make super duper journals, let me tell you. And two of the ladies had never done anything like that before, and theirs came out really cool. Okay. What have I missed? All right. So then, we'll let this dry. And that's already a cool inside to your journal. I like it. All right, so let's let that one dry. And just to give you an idea, something you could do with this. I have some of these botanical postcards, and just putting one of these in the front, wouldn't that look super cool? And the front is almost done. I would like maybe sew it around because I love my sewing, and maybe put a little piece of fabric or something because of course I love my fabric. And I think it's all ready to be a glue book when you do that. I like it. Look at this, orchids, how pretty. So to make yourself a nice cover, like I say, for those of you beginning, your first inclination is, I don't have supplies, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have the stash of anything. Yeah, you do. You've got a book somewhere in the house that you have never read and don't want to and never will. Use that. You've got, and take the pages from that book and glue them all over the front and the back. And then when you decide if you're going to have a theme or it's just going to be a hodgepodge, then at that point, you can just cut something out of something, some other kind of book, a magazine, anything you got. Or, if you want to repurpose, I love packaging. I love the packaging from everything. And you could put something on there. And you have everything to make this book. You just have to look at your stuff differently. That's all. And once you do that, oh my goodness, you'll reach the point of no return. You'll be grabbing everything and turn it into a journal. And your family will want to commit you. We've all been there. So if you just joined us, that one started off just like this. I got a whole bunch of these from the library. I should say my husband got a whole bunch of these from the public library. They were getting rid of them. And he brought them home for me because he knew I would be able to use them, which I can. And we're just going to glue these puppies up till they're all glued with some pretty paper. All right, so did you guys, again, every once in a while you make something you really like. And the other day I finished, these took me forever. I didn't spend a lot of time on them. I drug it out for a long time. I made my African journals. Some of you that were with me, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, we were trying different ways of painting the printout that I had, and looking and seeing the different effects that you would get from different products. And anyway, that was going to be part of my journal. And I finally got them done, and I think they came out so cool. Those are my African journals. Excuse me. Those and my and the last ones I did, the Japanese influenced ones. Some of my favorites. All right. We're gluing, people. That's all we're doing. Boring gluing. Well, it's not boring for me, but it must be kind of boring to watch. But some people are actually intimidated when it comes to gluing stuff. So we have to take the mystery out of the glue. This one lady actually said, what if I do something wrong? Well, I'm not sure what you can do wrong. Unless you start eating the glue, that might be wrong. But other than that, I don't think there's anything you can do that's wrong. And then, hey, you know, if it's non-toxic glue, oh, go for it. That's not wrong either, I guess. Okay, and the reason I'm doing that, remember, I wanted to go over the edge so that we can turn it over. I see that wasn't enough again. I did the boo-boo again. So let me do something to rectify that, because it's a little hard to turn over. I'll just extend it this way. Yeah, that's better. All right. Here's a creepy bug. It's a water isopod. 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 I don't know how you say that, but anyway, it's pretty cool. Here you go, Aaron. I don't know. It's pretty creepy looking. I like it. He's probably one of those guys that eats all the bugs. He's probably one of the good guys. Well, I went to a junk shop the other day. I don't go very often. I've never been to this particular one, but I don't go too often because I have stuff I need to use or get rid of before, I bring anything new in. But I found the coolest thing. It's um it's a box about that big, I guess. And and it has file cards in it, but it's made for negatives. And it had negatives in it. It's so cool. It was old. And it's a super cool thing. When I finish gluing this, I'll go see it. I've got to remember, where did I put it? So I can show it to you. I was talking to Aaron the other day, and I said, I'd like to do, I have some stuff I'd like to auction off, but I'm scared to do it because it's scary thought of doing something like that. I've done it with other people, but the thought of doing it alone is kind of petrifying. But I do have a lot of stuff I need. I want to get rid of because there's other things I want, and I can't justify getting something else while I have certain things. At least in my own head, I can't justify it. It's like out with the old, in with the new. Mm-hmm. All right, let's put that right there. Looks kind of cool. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've decided I'm going to do a new journal. I'm a theme person, I think. I didn't think I was, but I like themes. Even when I do the swaps for in my group, I really enjoy, having them do a theme, even though I usually don't participate. But I like seeing what they do with the theme. And there's a lot of people are, they tell me that it's very intimidating for them to have a theme. And it's just the opposite for me. If I don't have a theme, sometimes it's like, well, what should I do? What should I do? And as soon as I give myself a theme, boom, 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 it just kind of all falls into place. But that's the fun part. We're all different, we're all stimulated in different ways. And but anyway, so I was watching this show the other night on PBS. Now, I honestly forgot the name right now. But anyway, it's the one that shows you your genealogy and where you came from and all that kind of stuff. I forget. There's several of those shows, and I forgot the name of all of them. But anyway, so I was watching that, and it reminded me of when I was kind of turned all upside down when I found out about myself, and it was totally contrary to what I had been raised to believe. So, so in thinking of a journal, I thought that I would like kind of, make a journal about that. Because it wasn't anything catastrophic, but it was eye-opening. And so I thought that would be a cool journal to make. And I still think it is. I think I might. Who do you think you are? No, it's the other one. Isn't I don't think that's the one on PBS. Who do you think you are? That's on that other channel. Come on, Erin. Miss PBS. What's the name of it? That professor from the university. Oh, I forgot his name. I tell you, I'm brain dead right now. Yeah. Oh, is it on tonight? See, I missed it. Well, maybe it's a rerun. Let's hope it was a rerun. Ooh, more bugs. Anyway, so, hey, Darla. Finding Your Roots. There you go. That's the name of it. Okay. Darla, we were just talking about we're going to have that fundraiser. We're all excited. You put a lot of work into this. Yeah, finding your roots. So the funny part, I've mentioned this before. I'm not sure, who of you here have already heard this boring story, so I apologize if it's a repeat for you. But my entire life, I was raised thinking that I was Mexican. And so I find out that I'm not. And so my journal is going to be called When I Used to Be Mexican. I think it's pretty cool. So I'm going to relate, highlight, various things that in my life that are directly connected to me being Mexican in this journal. And so I'm going to be journaling when I used to be a Mexican. I think it'd be kind of a cool theme, don't you guys? Oh, it just came to me in the middle of the night. Because there was this movie my husband was talking about. I don't know why he brought it up, but there was a movie a few years ago, or a documentary or something, and it was called A Day Without a Mexican. It was if there were no immigrant workers, and all the work that they do, and basically, what America would be with no immigrants, right? And in this case, it was Mexicans. So it was A Day Without a Mexican. And that kind of just went through my head. And I guess it stuck in there for a couple of days. And then I thought, yeah, I used to be Mexican. and I think that would be a cool journal. Because I don't think there's a lot of people whose a heritage, it shapes your life. It really does, because mostly the way other people view you, it shapes your life. And so I thought, wow, that'd be pretty cool to show the various times where that impacted my life. So it's going to be, the times when I used to be a Mexican. I think. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy doing it. I don't know if anyone else is going to find any humor in it, but I'm going to enjoy it. Let's see. Oh, you're like Elizabeth Warren. See, people do tell stories, and why would you not believe what you're being told? Why wouldn't you believe it? Because you figure, why are people, why would they make this up? But, stories about families, they take on a life of their own, for good and bad. Let's see. Yeah, I figure, I was telling my husband about the journal I was going to do. And I said, wouldn't that make a great name for a song or a movie? I might have to get the copyrights for that. Okay, let's move this over enough so it flops over. We want those nice edges. If you just got here, we are covering a book cover to make a glue book. And what better way to do the cover but to glue stuff on the cover of the glue book. Ta-da! Let's see. That'll work right there. The other day at, was it Michael's? They had that big old, what is that, a gallon maybe? Maybe more of the Elmer's glue. And it was on sale for some ridiculous price, like $5 or something. Did I get it? No. And after I got home, I said, why didn't I get that? I use glue all the time. I don't want to cover up August. I was looking for some printmaking paper, and they didn't carry it. Not all stores carry that. I really like doing my printing on that. Get that in the holder. Let's get a little bit more glue in there so it'll stick. Push that down good in there. Hey, Peggy. Oh, I got your I posted somewhere. I forget what group. I saw you in there, so I posted in there. Thank you so much for your happy mail. I so appreciate it. I love getting all that stuff because that's lots of times that's what. Oh. Well, we might be saying adios, amigos. You guys let me know if it gets too bad. Because I hate watching other people's live streams when it does that. It gives me a headache. Oh, I don't want to cover up March. Yay, we're back. Yay. Uh-oh. Oh, this reminds me. Oh, no, I'm not going to go there. Never mind. Never mind. I know when to keep my mouth shut. You guys may not believe it, but I do. Okay. I'm liking how that's working out. Ooh, thunderstorm. You know, I kind of actually like thunderstorms. My husband says I'm crazy, but I know my dogs definitely don't. That looks kind of cool, just having a white piece there. I rather like that. Another cool look, too, I'll do it over here in another section. Oopsie. Yeah, kind of mimics a little ridge, right? At least to me it does. At least to me. Another bug. Oh, a lot of people don't like bugs. That's okay. Let's see. It's something that doesn't look so buggy. Something a little cuter. Oh, these are bugs, but they're not like, you know, creepy crawly looking bugs. Oh, I forgot I had this stuff over here. Totally forgot. But it's a different color. That's okay. Does not have to be matchy-matchy. No, I need to flap it over, so that's not going to work. That's not going to work. I need something bigger because I have to wrap it around toward the back, remember? I'm reminding myself. Remember, Rosemary? Ooh, they've all got bugs. I don't want to cut up the bugs. There's a plain one. June, July. Introduction, very good. Can use that up. All right, so there, that's cool. I like that. Oh, but I covered him up. I don't want to do that. Okay, that's better. That's better. Alrighty. There's those hairs again of the bees. And my kitchen right now, here in the studio, is infested with ants. My house isn't, which that's where the food is. But they are here in the studio. And the only place that they are congregating is on the sink, in the sink. And I was told they're after water. And the other day, when I was having my, I had a workshop here doing the EcoDyne. And we went to go turn on the faucet. And when I turned on the faucet, all these ants came out. They were in the faucet. I couldn't believe it. It's crazy. So tomorrow I have to go buy something to make these ants go bye-bye. And I need a piece up here. How about a creepy bug? Cinnamon. Ooh, and I got some over there. I throw it in my dye bath. I got that right now. I did not know that. Didn't make that big enough. People will buy anything. What are they going to buy? Sure it is. Are you these? I tell you, these ladies, I include myself. You just never know. There is somebody for everything. Those are great for making tags with. And they're really cool to turn them into altered postcards too. All right. Oh, I got a spot right there. Yay, almost done. Yeah, tags. Yep. They make cool tags. And I wish people would get more into postcards, making postcards out of unusual things like that and mailing them to each other. I think it would be so cool. Oh, I've got a lap over. See, I don't follow my own instructions. Let's start a movement. Just as long as it doesn't involve eating prunes, I'm all for it. I know, I do too. There's been a lot of attempts, to make groups just for that, but just like any other type of group, you got the people that are really into it and the rest that, you know, don't follow through. Then it gets disappointing. Oops. I have a hole there. Crew and crew. Oops, my poor dog's outside having issues. Weather must be changing. All right, so one more side done. Almost. Yay. So when that gets dry, then I'll flip it over and turn those over. This is still pretty wet and it'll get stuck to this paper, I'm afraid. Okay. One more. I wanted to do, how many did I already do? Got 3. I wanted to do 4. That's right. Very good. Very good. Robin, what? Let me see. I'm losing everything. Oh, postcard movement. Yeah. Yeah. I wish, yeah. There's a lot of fun things we could do. But I guess that's the hard part. Finding like-minded people that want to do the same thing with the same enthusiasm, and those that were, going to follow through with their initial enthusiasm. I'm the same way about lots of things. I go get all gung ho about something, and once I get into it, I realize, maybe I wasn't so gung ho about this after all. It's kind of cool. Let's put that there. Man, my Mod Podge is it's getting low. See, stupid. I didn't get that. Big old gallon Elmer's glue. I wanted to do a swap. I don't know if anybody else would want to do it, but I thought it would be fun just to do the altered envelopes. Don't put anything, rule number one, because people get carried away with these swaps. Rule number one, that nothing goes in the envelope. We are just making the envelope itself interesting. That is the swap. And it could be a lot of fun, super cheap. Everybody can participate because it just takes a stamp. And that way you could do it around the world because postage would not be a factor because there's no weight involved. And I think that would be fun to do. But that's just me. Tracy, I love what Tracy does, but I don't know if I've seen that. Some people, they're so prolific. I can't watch all their videos, or I'd be sitting just watching videos all the time. And I miss a lot of stuff, for that reason. But I love the stuff she does. She's very talented. Can you guys hear my dog? Hope he's not chasing the bunny. Better not be chasing the bunny. He'd be upset. Yeah, some people do give too much extra, and the downside to that is then when they get a partner that doesn't give them a lot of extras, then they're complaining. Well, you know, you didn't have to get all that stuff in the first place. So don't complain when you don't get it all the time. Now in my Facebook group, I have over in the file section, I have children or I forget what I call it. Anyway, it's where the members can put down, the name of their child and what their interests are. And if people want to send happy mail, I encourage them to send it to the young ones because you got to stop and think. The kind of stuff that we adults send to each other in this, junk journal world, it's really pretty infantile stuff. When it comes in the mail, I'm sure the kids think it's for them because, it all looks like stuff the kids would play with. So here mom is all excited. Oh, I got this, I got that. And the kid's just sitting there going, and me? There's nothing there. So I encourage whoever can, to send some Happy Meals to the children of the members, and that way they don't feel left out. Robin, I have a group called, what is the name of my group? Trashy and Flourish Junk Journals, I believe is the name. I started off it being just, wanting to get back to the roots of journaling, and which used to be just using trash. So that's why I called it Trashy. And then one time we did a swap in the group where I modeled the swap after the Flow magazine and book that you can get for paper lovers. And it became a hit that everybody wanted to do it every month. So now every month we do what we call the Flowish journal swap. And so that's why I included it in the title, because other groups were saying that well, anyway, we won't go there. But anyway, so I included it in the name. And so we do both. We do a lot of stuff there, actually. But and if you ever haven't done or know what the Flowish journals are, they are a lot of fun, because it's more like a supply journal, what I would like to call it. And when you put it together, you don't bind it like a normal journal. You just put it with some, if you have material or you have twine, you have a big giant rubber band, whatever it is, that's how you attach it into whatever you make as the cover, because the whole intent of the Flowish journal is that everything in there is to be used. You pull it out and you use it. So it's more like a supply thing. And so a lot of us have stashes, and I encourage people to share what they love. Don't buy anything, but share what you've been hoarding. Stuff that, you're never going to use, but you love it. Because the last thing, I tell people, because even though we call ourselves trashy journal people, our stuff is never trashy looking. It's always beautiful, because we can see the beauty in recycling. And just like we're doing right now. And so the object of the swap is not just to get a bunch of junk or just tear out a bunch of stuff out of a book or a magazine and throw it in there and say, okay, this is recycled. No, it's supposed to be stuff that you've been saving that you think you're going to use. Like, say you found a beautiful magazine and the pictures in there were just beautiful, and you couldn't throw it away, and you've had it for 10 years. It's about time to share the beauty with someone else that maybe they can use it. Because obviously, either you don't have the heart to tear it apart and use it, or your taste has changed. You still think it's pretty, but you're never going to use it. Well, it's time to share. Okay. Now, what's really funny about the Flowish journals is it's kind of taken on a life of its own. If you go and, type it into YouTube, there's all kinds of people doing them. There's people that make them and they sell them, and there's people that have started other groups. And call it flourish this and flourish that. I never even thought it was going to take off, to tell you the truth. I just did it the one time, and it's so funny. I did a video one time because in my shop, I haven't done it lately, but in my shop when I very first started doing these, people said, hey, I don't have a lot of supplies. Would you sell me a flourish journal? So I was making them and I was selling them in my shop, and they were as soon as I put them up, they were gone. And then so other people, I guess, thought, well, hey, I can do that too. So there's several people that sell them, under that name, Flourish Journal. And so one day I was doing one of my videos about, one of my Flourish journals. And somebody came on, made a comment, I should say, and said, you should give so-and-so credit for that, because that was their idea and you should give them credit. And I'm thinking, no, they should be giving me credit because I'm the one that came up with the idea. But it's funny when people don't know where things start. I mean, of course, I didn't think of the, Flow magazine, but I thought of adapting the principle of the Flow magazine into the swap. And but anyway, it was funny. At least they were loyal to the other person, right? They didn't want me taking advantage of someone else. Now, when I very first found out about the Flow magazine, because I guess not everybody, well, more so now, I think it's more and more people are knowing about it. But when I first found out about it, it was maybe about 2-3 years ago, maybe. And I was watching a video of Shannon Green. And she talked about it. And that was the first time I'd ever even heard of it. And so, of course, I had to run down to the store and go the bookstore and see if they had it locally. And they did, but, I was shell-shocked at the price. And I thought, holy moly, I'm not paying that for that. I mean, it's cute and it's a novelty. But I don't spend my money that way. And but I would go and look at it and thought, oh man, this is pretty cool. So I actually started the swap because I know other people had mentioned, oh, those are expensive. I'm not going to spend that. Even if I had the money, I wouldn't spend that. And then that's the idea kind of blossomed from there. Well, yeah, I wouldn't either, but, most people were putting them inside of flat rate envelope. So before postage went up, they could mail it for, $6-7, and you'd get all of this, these cool things that other people had been collecting. And now you get to have it, and you get to use it or pass it on, whatever it is you're going to do with it, for like $6 or $7 instead of like, what, $35 or something that magazine costs. So anyway, so I saw it and I thought, oh, this is pretty cool, and started doing the swaps. And then after we started the swaps, someone in conversation, said, well, how many do you have? And I said, I've never bought one. I've only looked at them at the store. And 2 people sent me, one of their back issues. And it was so cool. So those are the only ones I have, the ones that people have sent me. And I haven't torn those apart yet. But I should. I should. Why not? We're fortunate at our library because I know some people have mentioned their library doesn't do this, but our library has a table where you can bring anything you want to give away as far as, books, magazines, things like that. And you can put them there and then, you can come and pick up whatever you want. And people have left the coolest looking magazines I've never heard of. Some magazines that aren't even in print anymore. And you can get the coolest stuff out of them. And then our library has these sales. I think it's like 3 times a year. Book sales. And then they also have a shop inside of the library where they sell books. Really inexpensive. I mean, unless they're like collector's books or something like that. But anywhere from 25 cents. If it's not a collector book, the most I've seen is maybe $4 or $5, but it has to be like a really big, giant, thick book for that. The average is about $1 or $2. And you can always find something cool there. Do such sexual differences serve a useful purpose? Oh my goodness. I need to put that right in the middle. Oh, we're talking about butterflies and moths. Okay. It's always important to know what we're talking about. All right. Yeah, I need to get my highlighter on that. Neon one. We need a neon. Don't cover up. Don't cover up the good stuff. Here we go. I don't know how I ended up watching this because I was never like a big fan of his, but so ladies, don't get mad if you're a fan of his. There was this interview with Donny Osmond, and as an adult, and it was really quite insightful about his journey. I always thought of him as kind of a boring person. Sorry, ladies, but I know when you were teeny boppers, you probably liked him. But his story turned out to be pretty interesting. I know, Peggy. Just like us ladies will buy anything, we'll also watch anything. Something as painful as glue. Oh. This started off as a reminder to the auction. It's still a reminder for the auction tomorrow, 1 o'clock Pacific time. Bring your snacks. Bring your munchies. Yeah. Bring your caffeine. And bring your money. Good time to be had by all. And those of you not familiar with it, it's going to be on Jessica Rapp's channel, 1 o'clock Pacific time. Check your local zone for time. June. I'll be there with my chimes. Not chai, my chimes. And remember, we'll be there forever. You know how crazy we get. They kick you off in 8 hours, so you know for sure if we get kicked off and there's still stuff to be auctioned, we'll come back. We'll have potty breaks and everything. That was not a Boston accent. I didn't say potty. I said potty, not party. You know what I'm saying? I used to live up there, so I get it. The potty. I lived in Massachusetts and I lived in Rhode Island. So I know all the accents. And my husband is from New York City. So, you know, that covers them all pretty much. It looks like a tooth. What is this? Oh, these are eyes. It looks like a tooth. Wow. Look at that. This is called a jumping spider. And these are the eyes of the jumping spider. Very cool. Well, I don't think anyone will find that interesting for the most part. So I'm not going to waste it on you guys. When I find it interesting, I'll keep it. I'll keep it. Yeah, Scotty. Can you or somebody, Darla, you can hold on. Let me see if I know how to do this. Hold on. I tried the other day and it wouldn't let me. Okay, Darla, I'm putting you as an ad so that you can put the link maybe to the info. Please, pretty please, with sugar on top. Maybe Jessica's channel, and then also maybe the website, the beautiful website you put together. You need to make me one, girl. Okay. And there you go. I think you're all set now. Yeah, the other day I was we had some kind of a troll one night. And I was trying to add somebody because, you know, to flush him out. And it wasn't allowing me to add anybody. I had to end up just closing down that night because he was pretty disgusting. Okay. Thank you, Darla. Okay, April. April. I don't know why the other night. Oh, I know why now. I was looking up something on YouTube, forget even what it was. But you know how on the side other things pop up? Sometimes they have something to do with what you're looking up, and sometimes it has absolutely nothing to do with it. But what popped up on the side was Fred Astaire, a Fred Astaire movie or a clip of him dancing or something like that. Anyway, it had to do with Fred Astaire. And I remember when I was a little kid, we had a station that would come on that played all the old, I mean old movies, all the way back to like the 30s. I mean, almost like when talkies started. They never had the silent movies, but they had really, really old stuff. And that was when I got introduced to these old musicals, you know. I mean, they were old for my mom. So you can imagine they were old for me. But I discovered all those, all those guys from those musicals, and I thought they were pretty cool. I still do. I mean, there's a lot of musicals I can't stand. But those, like, the ones that had, like, Fred Astaire in them or Gene Kelly, I really, really enjoyed watching those. I don't really understand dance, but I can appreciate dance. And when you see those two guys dance, I mean, they're athletes in what they do. They're not just gyrating, but they're athletes in what they're doing, in my opinion. Okay, everybody, what's your favorite old musical, like at least 50s and previous? Nothing past the 50s. What's your favorite musical? Man, is the Music Man? I think you guys are still you're in the 60s, aren't you? Aren't you guys in the 60s? We said 50s and earlier. You guys are already breaking the rules. I know. Erin's going to look it up. She'll know the exact date of each movie. Okay, Top Hat. See, yes, that's the 30s. I know that at least. I know Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. I think that's the 60s too. Forget all those 60s movies. No, you guys, get out of the 50s, would you? Can't get nostalgic talking about the 50s. Even though half of you weren't born. Okay, let me put this right there. I like that. Oh, Singing in the Rain. I love that movie. I can watch that over and over and over. My husband has always had a crush on Sid Charisse. Okay, I'll tell you a little story. I always have a little story. We used to live in California, in Los Angeles. My husband was an elevator tech guy and he worked for a company, and it just happened, you know, they would give him routes, and they had certain buildings that they would either repair or whatever it is. Well, his route happened to be in Beverly Hills. So his route was some of the stores on Rodeo Drive, and then some of the condos that were there on Wilshire Boulevard. Okay, so he gets a call one day that some, private elevator is down over on these Wilshire condos, and that was, part of his route. So there he goes, lickety split over there to go see, what's wrong with this private elevator. So he goes up to whatever floor it was, and the elevator opens, and who is there? Sid Charisse. Okay, time to change the chonies. Okay, so my husband, he's there to fix her elevator and try to act like, he has no idea who she is. And anyway, he ends up, because that building was his building, and anything that happened on their condo was his responsibility. He ended up, meeting her husband, which now I forgot his name. He's famous too. What was his name? You guys know. I know. He was a singer. Is. I don't know if he's alive or dead. He was a singer. And anyway, so he ended up, he was on that route for maybe like 2 years or so. And they got to the point where, when he arrived, they had food ready for him, and they would sit down, and, the guy would have a drink and chit chat with my husband about who knows what. And Sid Charisse would, come floating through the room and bring my husband, a soda or, whatever, non-alcoholic beverage. And so, you never know if your fantasies come true. It wasn't probably his complete fantasy, but it came close enough. He actually saw her, touched her hand. So whenever Singing in the Rain comes on or something, and that scene comes on where she's dancing with him with Gene Kelly, I go, Richard, Sid's on. Tony Martin. Yes, that's who it was. And he was from New York too. So him and my husband, they got down into the New York stuff when they'd sit down and talk and stuff. Oh, thank you. Okay, now Tamara. I have a friend that spells her name like you, and she says Tamara, but some people say Tamara. How do you pronounce your name? Where's the emphasis on your name? Easter Parade. Yes, I like that too. One of my favorite ones. I don't know. Maybe because I was an adolescent when I watched it. All of those, I was an adolescent when I first watched them. But there was a movie with Fred Astaire, and it was called Daddy Long Legs with Leslie Caron. I don't know if you guys have seen that one. I think that's one of my favorite ones because I think it wasn't so even though it was funny and there was dancing, it was a little more serious in a sense. Not serious, that's even the wrong word. But that's totally the wrong word. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. And he was a little older by then too. I guess by Hollywood standards at that time. And I think, I don't know why. I mean, I look back, I've always liked older men, always, until I got older. Then I thought they were too old. But anyway, but when I was young, I always found older men attractive. So that movie just set right into, my mindset, because he liked, you know, the girl that was a lot younger than him and blah, 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 and vice versa. So that worked for me. Oh, right. We just have one little gap to fill up. And don't forget Abbott and Costello, people. I know they didn't dance and sing, but I still giggle at their movies because they're so stupid. My favorite one is their movies is anything that has to do with, like Dracula and what is it? Abbott Costello meet the werewolf or something. I forget what it's called. It's so stupid. It's, they're so stupid, they're funny. Or I'm just so stupid, I find it funny, whatever. I don't care. I admit it. Yeah, who's on first? Oh, they were funny. All right, so now this one's dry. Ooh, I got a lot of cutting to do on this one. This was a messy job of tearing apart, that's for sure. Getting out of the musicals for a second, still, I think my all-time favorite stupid movie is Young Frankenstein. It's got to be my all-time favorite dumb comedy. And I know everybody doesn't get it, but that's okay. I do, and I love it. Okay. So like I said, we were living in California. I switched my stories real fast. I switched gears real fast. I'm back to California now. We had built a house. Okay, let me give you a little, in case you don't know California. My husband was working in Los Angeles, and about 100 miles north of Los Angeles, you start climbing up into the mountains. You go through the desert when you leave Los Angeles, and then you leave the desert, and then it starts going up into the mountains. And we bought a piece of property that had gone into foreclosure up in the mountains about 100 miles north of Los Angeles. All right. And it was a private, is that what you call it? A private, what would you call that? A private what? What do you call that? Anyway, I lost my word of how to describe where this was. It was a private community. Let's put it that way. I can't think of the other word. Anyway, So I don't remember how. Oh, I remember how we. Okay, that's another story. Forget it. I can't get into too many stories. Let's stick to one story at a time. Um, so we got this piece of property, and it was up on top of this hill called Big. No, it was. What was it called? Bear Valley. Bear Valley Springs was the area, and that was the name of the mountain and the community. And so you went up over the mountain and then started going down into this valley. And there was this beautiful, I thought, beautiful piece of property. You could not see another house from there, full of oak trees everywhere, and a view off in the distance into um to endless. I mean, it was, you would see mountains, Cascade Mountains off in the distance, and you were so high up, you were up above everything else. It was just a beautiful, beautiful sight. All right. So we go back to go talk to the realtor of this place. They had their own realtor there. And so we asked them, well, how much does this stuff cost and all this kind of stuff and everything. So, excuse me. And they had this big map on the wall that had, all the properties there. And so we told them, oh, we drove up here. We showed them on the map where we drove to and how beautiful and secluded that area was and how pretty and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So he says, well, matter of fact, we have a foreclosure up there. Well, what it was is they had dues you had to pay, and some kind of community taxes or something like that. And the people that own this property up there just defaulted, and they were selling it just for the back fees and the back taxes. And so it was something really, for California, it was like giving it away. It was something like, I want to say like $5,000 or something. And it was an acre. And $5,000 for an acre anywhere, let alone California up in the mountains, you get the drift. So we were like hyperventilating and thinking, oh my gosh, So we end up buying it, not knowing, what the heck are we going to do with this? It's 100 miles away from where we live, 100 miles away from where he works. But it was sort of like, it spoke to us. It was so beautiful. Anyway, so we decide, after much trepidation, that we were going to try and build something there, like for weekends, because we got the property for so cheap. We thought, maybe we can wing this, and see what we do. So it was still on the talk stage, and so we would go up there on the weekends sometimes just to go and have a picnic on our piece of property in that solitude up there. It was so pretty. So one day we're up there underneath this tree having our picnic lunch. And remember, you cannot see another house from there when you're there in that particular area. And here comes chug-a-lugging this vehicle down the street. We can see it and hear it coming because it's like super silent out there. And I'm thinking, who's coming all the way out here? So this guy comes up kind of almost like in attack mode. And he goes, what are you doing here? What are you doing on my property? And my husband and I look at each other and go, gulp, We go, oh, I'm sorry. I thought at first, my first thought was, oh, these are the people that lost the property. We bought their property. Now they're going to hate us. They're going to beat us up. What's going on? And so we try to be, as courteous as possible, not knowing, what mental state they're in. And we said, oh, we bought this property, trying to act stupid and everything. And then he goes, I consider this my property. even though I don't own it. Like, I'm thinking, what are you talking about? Well, he goes on to tell us that whenever he was in town, had a home there in that same community. That whenever he was in town, he would come up and sit underneath that big oak tree where we were having our picnic, and he would bring his book, and that was his place of solitude. So he figured that that was what he considered to be his property and his tree. Well, he leaves. We talked for a little while, and he leaves. And I told my husband, I said, I know that guy from somewhere. Um, who is he? And Richard goes, yeah, he looked familiar. I don't know where we met him. So anyway, so a day goes by, and we're already at home, and we sit down, and I was flipping the TV around, and that old show Hogan's Heroes comes on. I don't know if it was old then. Maybe it was. I don't know. I don't know how old that show is. Anyway, Hogan's Heroes comes on, and we both look at each other at the same time, and it was Ivan Dixon, the black man on Hogan's Heroes. He was the one that told us to get off our own property. And so he owned a piece of property up in that area. And he just thought that, our place was his most favorite spot. And he was the one that had kicked us off of our own place. So you just never know who you are going to run into out in the middle of a mountain underneath a big oak tree with really no civilization to be seen. And someone tells you to get off your own property. So anyway, we ended up becoming chums after that. We ended up building a house there. And he had rights. Anytime he wanted, he could come down, sit on the porch, read his book. So he wouldn't, have to give up his spot. So that was kind of cool. And then when his Hollywood friends, would come and visit him at his place, he would always bring them up to our place, and we'd have a lot of fun, just doing goofy stuff. And oops, this is not going well here. There we go. And then at that time, I forget the name of the show, but his daughter was directing a show. I can't remember the name. Come on, Aaron, help me out. I don't know if it was on very long, but it was a show about women nurses, military nurses, I think. It was called Blue Something or Something Blue. That's kind of floating around in my head. I can't think of the name right now. Can't remember the name. Anyway. And so when his daughter would come up, sometimes she'd bring her friends. Now, one day, this was so cool. This was when, I think, the old show In the Heat of the Night. Remember that old show? I can't remember names of people right now, but I remember names of shows. Anyway, he was directing, okay, Ivan Dixon, after he stopped acting, he became a director. And if you look on the credits of like Magnum P.I. and things like that, this was all during that time. And he was directing Magnum P.I. He was directing In the Heat of the Night, various shows that were on during that period of time, which would have been what was that? The 90s, I guess, something like that. And So these shows that he was directing, when they're directing these things, it's because they have connections, they have friends, and they're all scratching each other's backs to get jobs and things like that. So anyway, I don't know why I can't talk and glue at the same time. I am in bad shape, ladies. When you can't even glue and talk. Oh my goodness. Anyway. Okay, let me compose myself. I think I need to drink this up. And also, there's a bug in my eye or something. Hold on. I'm in bad shape. Wait on. Wait. Let me get this first out of my eyeball. It's making my eye water, and I couldn't even see out of it. Now I need a drink. Okay. I think I'm ready now. Oh, yeah, I should start sniffing. I mean, there's no smell to that stuff. I need something with some smell. Okay, so what was I saying? Oh, I don't want to put that there. I think I put that there. I got to put the bug. Let me shorten that a little bit. Anyway, so he would bring his friends over, and at the time, he was directing In the Heat of the Night. And I don't remember her name because I'm really bad at names. But the woman that played, the woman that played Carol O'Connor's girlfriend on The Heat of the Night. What was her name? Help me out, somebody. I know you can help me out. Rookie Blue. Okay, that makes sense. I knew it was Blue something. And they were nurses? They were female nurses, Aaron? But now you got to find out the name of the actress that was, what's his name's girlfriend on the show? What was her name? She was also in that show, that comedy show, Room. I think it was called Room 2. Was there a show called Room 222 or something like that? She was like a teacher or she was something. Anyway, that woman was Carol O'Connor's girlfriend. On the show, I think. Anyway, he brought her up. She fell in love with the place up there. And so then he asked me if we could have a party at my place, at a certain time. He'd pay for everything. It was basically just using my place as the venue. And I didn't have to do or say anything. And I said, sure, free food. I'm all in. Well, almost like 80 people later, oh my gosh. He brought in a tent because we had about 2 or 3 acres there. He brought in those big, beautiful white tents and set them up. And he used to make this great barbecue. So he was in charge of cooking all meat and all this stuff. And that was like one of the best parties I ever gave at my house that I didn't give. Really fun time. Anne Marie. No, it wasn't Anne Marie Johnson. Nope. Nope. It might come to me. That wasn't her at all. Let me think. Um, on the tip of my tongue. Look up room 222. See what you come up with that. And give me somebody's name from that. All right, so when you're doing your book, you can put in full pages like that, or you can put up, uh-oh. Oh, no. See what happens when I'm chit-chatting? I put it upside down. Look at what I did. Shut up, Rosemary. Let me see if I get this off. I bet you I can't. This glue's too good. I don't want the bugs upside down. I mean, it's just a glue book, but my goodness, my bugs deserve to be right side up. Even though in a bug's world, I don't think they know up from down anyway, right? They hang upside down on trees. And Karen Valentine, no. Denise Nichols. That sounds familiar. Is she black? No, that's not her. Yeah. No, not Karen Valentine. No, she was that skinny little white girl, right? Oh, I'm not going to get this up. I'm so sad. That's what happens when you don't shut up. See, I told you I couldn't glue and talk at the same time. How many times have I told you guys I cannot glue? Diane Carroll. Oh, no, not Diane Carroll. Yeah, room 222. But not Diane Carroll. Now remember, this is the TV show In the Heat of the Night, not the movie. Oh my goodness. I can see her face, but I can't figure out her name. Oh well. Anyway, another person that was there who was really a nobody at the time. I mean, I don't think he was anybody at the time. He was just happened to be his friend. I mean, he was an actor, but I mean, nobody knew who he was. Nobody knew his name. Hold on, I got to do this for Joyce. I got to shut up, people, and I have to get my bug out of here. Oh, dear. I cannot finish the story until my bug has been retrieved and put right side up. I will not feel good about it. Okay, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. China Beach, that's the name. Now that you said it. Ding, 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 ding. You get the banana. Okay, so now you got China Beach. Okay, his daughter directed most of the China Beaches. Okay, next, who is the woman on 222 that was also on In the Heat of the Night? Because she can make a mean salsa. She brought this yummy salsa. Anyway, you guys know her. I know you know her. No, Dana Delany. She was one of the nurses. I'm talking about 222 and In the Heat of the Night. We're talking about like 3 different shows. Denise Nichols. Denise Nichols. I think that sounds so familiar. Was she on both of them, Scotty? My hit last time I was playing here, remember some of you that were with me here, my heat gun went kaput. I was doing something. I was doing those tags and it just died on me. And I haven't gotten a new one. true. Almost. It's almost there. Oh, I'm too lazy to go all the way to my house to get a hair dryer. I'm in my studio, which is separate from my house, and I'm just too darn lazy. Don't ask me to do, things that take effort. Now, see, it's all coming up, and you watch right where the bug is where it's going to tear. And who cares about the rest, right? I can see that's what's happening right now. It's getting really, really thin right there. And I'm going to end up losing the bug either way. Aaron, that would be too easy to do. Why would I do the thing that makes sense and it's easy to do? Where would the drama be if I did that? Come on, get real. Oh my goodness, look, I might get like... Maybe if I spit on it. Oh, it tore right there. See, look. I know, driving Aaron crazy. Oh, I saved a little of him. Look, see where it tore? Yay! See, I didn't want to give up the whole bug. All right, now let's see which way is up and which way is down before I start gluing. All right. There we go. And so I'll just put them back over here. That'll work. It'll work. No. She's white, isn't she? Lois is white. Dark brown hair. Yeah. She, you know what? Hold on. It's driving me crazy. Let me see if I don't lose everybody trying to find this out. Hold on. I am going to try and multitask and lose everything. Okay. Cast. Where's the cast? Yeah, it is Denise Nicholas. So I don't know why the name didn't click. Okay. So yes, that's who it is. Denise. All right. So Denise came and she brought a date, which was the guy that was, an actor, but, I didn't know who he was. He was just an actor, right? Okay. Well, later on, a week or so afterwards, several of them sent me a nice little card, thanking me for, allowing the party to be hosted there. And anyway, and I've always been the type that keeps things, right? Paper hoarder. So I kept, the different cards they had given me, and then just never really gave it another thought. I had a little box where I kept the stuff. And then about, I don't know, maybe it was like about 5 years later or something, maybe. And again, my husband goes, we're watching something. He goes, that guy looks familiar. I said, yeah, he does, doesn't he? I wonder who he is. Why does he seem so familiar? And then just let it go. I just let it go. And then it kept gnawing at me. And then my husband, who's, better at remembering people than I am, he says, did that guy come to our house? And I said, I don't think so. And then I go, wait a minute. So I go, maybe he did. I don't know. I don't remember at all. So I go look at my little thank you cards. And there was his name. And he had been at the house. That's how we knew him. Well, anyway, it was Samuel L. Jackson. before he was, known. And he was, becoming known. And he was in something, I forget what it was we saw him in. And that's when we realized, oh, he finally made it. So I had a lot of fun with Ivan teasing him. I told him, what is my place? Is it like a hangout for wannabe actors? Has been actors turned into directors? But it was fun. Okay, so I got my bug down. This is a good thing because I didn't want to lose my bug. Okay. We already got the name, Aaron. Is that what you're asking? We got her already. I see I'm glooming and chit-chatting with you. I can't look at the same time. I can't do two things, let alone 3 times, people. Let's get real. All right. So when I finish gluing this up here, I think we're going to call it a day because I didn't realize how long I've been here gluing. I just looked at the clock and I go, you have got to be kidding. I have been gluing that long and boring these people for that long. I hope you're doing 2 things at one time. Okay, let's put this here. Ooh, nice specimens. What are these? Ooh, worms. Perfect. Night, Scotty. Yeah, you got to take a nap and be ready to be up all night tomorrow. Don't forget, don't oversleep. Thank you for joining us. Put your alarm clock on. You got to be up by 2 o'clock. Okay. Those that stuck it out with me, when I finish gluing this page right here, I'm going to run real quick and go get that cool box that I got with all those negatives. Yummy. Yummy. Okay. Sections of buds. Ooh. Oops, very crooked. Very crooked. Not to worry, Scotty. We'd be texting you crazy if you were missing it. I like that. Do you guys watch Debbie's Design? I forget her last name. She does furniture and decorating pieces. I think that's the name of her channel. Debbie Designs? I think so. She did, if you like to hear stories, she did one this month. I think it was this month. I think it was because of the holiday, Valentine or something like that. And the story she told, oh my goodness. It will have you bawling in tears. So you go look her up, find her video, and what she's very clever. She'll do her artsy stuff, and then she cuts away and she tells her part of her story. Then she goes back to the demo she's doing, and so she's building up the suspense. And she goes back to the story that she's telling, and then she stops, and then she goes back. She's going back and forth. So you're like going crazy, waiting for her to finish that story. And usually they're just funny stories she tells. But this particular one, oh my goodness. But anyway, go find her. It'll be, sometime this month, February 1. And I don't know what the title will be, but it'll have something to do with Valentine or love, or I don't know what it. I don't know. I don't know why I brought it up. I just thought of her stories. Don't you love when somebody brings something up and then they have no info to share with you? Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm bad. I still got a bug or something. Anyway. Yeah, it's the buildup. It's the anticipation. But she's such a sweetheart. She has a shop in San Diego County. When I come from San Diego originally. And she has the cutest shop. If I could have one, it would look just like hers. No, her name's Debbie. Debbie. And I don't remember if it's with an I or a Y. She has lots of followers. Lots. So it'll have a big number next to her name. One more piece, people. Yay! And my nose was all stuffed up when I started this, and now feels like it's a running hose. Allergies. Oh gosh. Well, at least my head's not all stuffed up like it was. Okay. Thank you, ladies, for putting up with all this. Now I'm going to have to be sniffling because my nose is going crazy. Oh. Okay, let me just glue this down. You guys wait a second, and I'm going to go run and get that box. I think I know where it is, and share it with you, and then we will say good night. Good night, Marie. Good night, Louise, whoever. There was a good night something. I know. I can't remember. Got to cover that up a little bit. He got all torn up. Gonna make him a little more secure with extra glue. He's very delicate. Okay. Whoops. All right. So let me put that there. Oh, yeah. Irene. Exactly. See? You guys know everything. It's so cool. I just have to put something out there. I really don't have to know anything. All right. I'll be right back. Hold on, you guys. All right, there's the box. The box is very simple, nothing fancy about it. And I haven't cleaned it yet. I was afraid to, but I think it could be easily cleaned up. And then it has this regular old little latch right there, right? Well, whoops, let me put the lid on this first. Put the lid on it, Rosemary. Okay, hold on. I don't want my hands all dirty. Hold on. All right. Look how cute. Is this not cute or what? Look at those index cards. And this is the length of, I guess, of an average in the old days. It has the like, you know, like a glassine bag that would have the negatives in it. And this is, you know, it's full of all kinds of negatives. And so it has all these index type cards, and then it has all the kinds of cool negatives in there. And most of them are architecture, which is right up my alley. So the story goes, the guy that had this, he was an architect, and so when he traveled, he took all these cool pictures of different buildings, and a lot of these in here, if you read the index cards, these are in Mexico where he went and took pictures of a lot of the different, you know, like the churches and the big beautiful homes that are there. I really can't show it to you because, you know, the way the light is backwards. The light's above me instead of underneath. But really cool. But look, it just goes on, and all these cute little envelopes with all the goodies. It's so cute. But I thought this was such a cool find. Well, can you see? No, you can't see. Oh, yeah, you can. I was thinking you wouldn't be able to see it. I should have been looking up. I was looking down. See? Two things at one time. Like this is the Mayan ruins. I don't know if you can see those steps going up. Some kind of excavation going on. And these look like they're probably like from the 40s or 50s based on the clothing and cars and things like that. So I don't know if you can see that. Louise. What did Louise say? Oh, yes. Well, you know what I'm going to do? Well, maybe. See, I have too many plans. I'm this spring or summer or whatever. I'm going to do some of my now I don't know how to pronounce this correctly. I've only seen it written down. But is it pronounced cyanotype? Is that how you pronounce it? That type of work you do with photography? Somebody corrected me. Yeah, you use a light box. I don't have one. Spell it. Oh dear. I can't. Auction. Don't forget the auction. All right, ladies. Thank you so much. I'll type in. Thank you so much. Yay! Good night. Oh, now you're back? Okay, well then I'll say okay, well I'll say goodnight. You guys are back. Okay, well thank you for hanging in there with me, you guys. I appreciate it so much. Don't forget the auction tomorrow. Believe it or not, that was my whole purpose for coming live, and I ended up, you know, gluing all these crazy things. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock Pacific time, and we will be there for a long time. So don't worry about that. We'll be there. I'll be with my wind chimes, and we'll have a great time. All right. Thanks again, you guys. See you tomorrow.